Hi Yins, how are you doing today? Hope you're all doing well. It is March 3rd. No, people, it's April 3rd. It is April 3rd, 2019. I hope you are all well. I'm doing well. It has been a while. And yes, I'm still here. I'm still making videos. It's just not been as frequently as I'm used to. Since the last time we spoke, I've had quite a few busy days in life, and so life just got in the way. And with that, I have just kind of fallen out of crafting a bit. I don't want to say completely fallen out of crafting. I have been crafting, just not as much as I would like to be. And so I just have not really had the energy to make videos. So I just wanted to take a break, and I'm back. So I thank you all for those of you who have messaged me and said, we miss you. I appreciate it. I am back. I hope to continue making regular appearances, but with work and school, things are getting very busy right now. And so it might be hit or miss until the end of the school year. We'll have to wait and see. With that, I do have some progress to show you. Not a lot, but I have some. I have been quite busy on the knitting front, not so much on the stitching front. But I have made progress stitching, because last time we talked, I had lost all interest in stitching. So, if you had previously remembered, I was trying to work on the mushroom sampler after I finished working on that page of Henry. And since then, I have decided to switch out the projects that I was working on. So after the last video we chatted, and I went ahead and put the mushroom sampler away, and I pulled out my By the Bay Needle Art 13th Colony Bay Part 2. That's what it will look like when it is done. If you can recall, I am working this in one big panorama, all 3 parts. I have part 1 done. I'm now working on the middle part. And this is what it looks like so far. This is on 46 count Rocky Mountain by XJU Designs or XJU Designs. I'm stitching this 1/2 with the called for DMC threads. And again, it has the variegated, it's the mottled fabric. So I have really taken into consideration, there's a big sun that you're not going to really be able to see. You can see a sun there. About if I should do the sun here or not, I don't think I'm going to do that. I talked about that on a previous video, and I think I'm just going to leave it blank for now and see how it looks whenever I get the other tree in, which will actually go right here, because this is setting up for the next tree. And then there's a little bit left here of the bottom part that I'm going to have to move the Q-snap. I just wasn't ready to do that whenever I stitched on this. I'm probably going to put this away. But since you last saw it, I worked on each of these tree pads, and of course the back stitch to connect the tree pad to the tree. I completed these trees, the green on these trees, and I moved across the bottom here and put in this one color of yellow, and then the bushes and this half of the greenery around the tree. And so that's what it looks like so far. I am very pleased. This is one of my favorite whips that I have going on right now. And so it's going. These took forever. And I think it's partially the mental state I was in, the cognitive state in which I was stitching these, when I was stitching these, but they were not fun for me to stitch. But they're done, and they look great. So, By the Bay, 13th Colony, Part 2. So that is all the stitching I have for you today. Then I started knitting. And since we last talked, I don't know if I put any more into my scarf, but I then put it away because I have new yarn. So my yarn order came in for my new sweater, which I showed you in a previous video. And where is that book at? Here is the book. Excuse me as I reach over you. The sweater is coming out of the book called Vintage Knits, 13 Knitting Designs from Rowan for Women and Men. I ordered this on Amazon because I could not get the pattern that I wanted on Ravelry. So the pattern I am doing is called Gerald. It is a Kim Hargraves design. That is what it looks like. So it's more like a jacket than a sweater. At least I consider it more like a jacket than a sweater. And the yarn that I have chosen for this is actually a Holst garn in Marlin. So this is a super soft. The color is called Marlin. Now this does come as a fingering weight yarn, and the sweater calls for a I think it calls for a DK weight. And it would say where? Ba, 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 ba. Well, it doesn't say on the pattern, but I'm fairly certain on Ravelry it calls for a DK weight or a light worsted weight. It's something like that. So with this yarn, if you use 2 strands, you can get a DK the weight I need. So I've been knitting in 2 strands. So basically I'm taking 2 balls of yarn and working out of 2 balls of yarn. And it's a piece sweater, so it's not knitted in the round like that I've done the other 2 sweaters. But I have the ribbing and going up the back. So it's a simple stockinette sweater once we get going here, at least on the back. So, and this is where I am at. So, and I'm very, very pleased with how that is looking and turning out so far. I love the fabric that this yarn is making with this, with using the 2 strands. And just like cross stitching 2 strands, it's the same thing, just knitting with 2 strands. So, very, very pleased with my Rowan sweater. Okay. Finally, when I needed a little break from working on my sweater because going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth was taking a little bit of a toll, I decided to cast on the second. Oh, actually, you know what? I have a finish too, because since we last talked, I finished that first sock. So since we last talked, I finished the sock I was working on for my friend. So that is the sock. This is a Knit Picks Hawthorne called, I don't have the tag here either, something ice, but I can't remember offhand. Anyways, I talked about it in my last update. This is the sock so far. I used a different heel this time. I used the Afterthought heel, and I loved putting in the Afterthought heel. So far this is my new favorite kind of heel. And there we go. Super simple sock. And because of that, I went ahead and on Saturday, this past Saturday, I cast on the second sock. And Saturday, Sunday, Monday, this is how much sock I got done. So again, keep in mind that, as you can see, this is the Afterthought heel. So what you do is you knit in some waist yarn, and when I'm ready to go ahead and put in the heel, I pull that waist yarn out. I also this time put in some lifelines, so whenever I do pull out that waist yarn, it's much easier to pick up the stitches on that heel. So that will then be where the heel goes, and I'm almost done with this sock. I think I have about 20 rows left before I go ahead and put in the toe. So it will only take me a day or so to finish up this sock, and I can ship them off to my friend. So I hope she likes them. Nice thing is, women's socks go much faster than my socks because women typically have smaller feet than me. Yeah. So that, my friends, is everything I've done since we last talked 2 weeks ago. So I hope to be back this weekend for a stitch craft with me of some kind. I'm not quite sure yet. Depends upon how the rest of my week goes. I have been getting lots of great entries for the large project finish competition. So I want to applaud all of you who have made great strides in your finishing. Don't worry, there's still plenty of time to get those finishes in. I have not finished yet. I still have 4 pages left to go on Henry. I'm thinking Henry is going to be coming back out very soon though. So just keep that in mind. Remember, if you have any questions about that competition, you can go back and check out the video, Large Project Finish Competition. It's found in my video feed, and all the information on how to enter is there. And I love looking at your finishes, and I am keeping, what I did was whenever I get an email, I have a folder in my email and I dump everything into that folder, and I will be ready to go for when the deadline comes. So don't forget to enter your competition pieces, and I will be excited to receive them and look at all of them and enter you in the competition. Until we talk again, don't forget to always be creative.